Attila, which is specializing in the development and the manufacture of the Linux-ready embedded industrial computers for decades. We understood that the fourth industrial revolution, with based on the Internet of Things technology, is sweeping the world. So Attila provides the Matrix-700 series of IoT gateways, which can adjust the equipment and the systems of the factories to connect the network, combining the communication between different devices, equipment, and the personnel to reach the central control center for the advanced processing. We will further answer issues when developing with Matrix-700 and coming up with the video. Matrix-700 is an industrial-grade Linux embedded computer. Many users prefer to perform subsequent development on the Matrix-700 to practice a variety of industrial gateway applications. You need to install and configure some related packages and libraries with your familiar programming language on the Matrix-700 and then on-site debugging and testing continuously to complete the acceptance of the Matrix-700 prototype for mass production. Here we are explaining how to copy the developer allocation of the Matrix-700 to others at the same time. Matrix-700 provides 8 GB of the eMMC flash as storage. Both Linux kernel and the file system stores on this internal eMMC. Matrix-700 provides a backup mechanism in which the data of the internal eMMC could copy to an external microSD card. And Matrix-700 also provides a restore mechanism for a reverse operation that restores data from the external microSD card to the internal eMMC of the Matrix-700. So customers could process the mass production or reset Matrix-700 with the backup or restore mechanisms. Also, pay attention here, you will need a micro SD card which could be booted on Matrix-700 whether to perform a backup or restore command, and we call it factory images or golden copy. Next, we are about to explain how to make the factory image of the Matrix-700. Step 1. Prepare an 8 or 16 GB micro SD card. Step 2. Download the system image of Matrix-700 from Attila's site. The image file name is, and the file size is about 7.4 GB. Step 3. Download the Win32 disk imager, which is an open source and free software tool from the SourceForge official site and install it. Step 4. Insert the prepared micro SD card into the card reader and connect it to the computer, then confirm the disk drive, which corresponds. For example, on my PC, this micro SD card will correspond to the drive E. Step 5. Execute the Win32 disk imager as following steps. Step 1. Select the system imager which download from Attila's site, and the name. Step 2. Select the corresponding disk drive. On my PC, this micro SD card corresponds to the drive E. Step 3. Press the right button, and it will be start to the system boot filming production, waiting for about 5 minutes to complete the factory image filming of the Matrix-700. Now we will show the micro SD card slot of Matrix-700 locates. The micro SD card slot of a Matrix-700 is hidden inside the case and must be opened to see it. Micro SD card slot is on the right side of the case, on the back side of the PCB board. Please note, must disconnect the external power supply and the USB console cable of Matrix-700 before inserting or ejecting the micro SD card. The micro SD card must be turned upside down, that is, the golden finger is facing up to be inserted. Complete the insertion when the card clicks, or press the card again to exit. Next, we are explaining how do we make the golden copy by commanding the backup mechanism. Step 1. Remove the external power supply and the USB cable of the Matrix-700. Then insert the factory image into the micro SD card slot of the Matrix-700. Reconnect the power supply to complete the boot up of Matrix-700, and the radio light is changing to the steady orange state. Connecting the USB console cable to the computer first, and activate the terminal program, for example TerraTurn. Then connect it with console of the 700. Execute the backup command on the console of the Matrix-700. The backup command forces the Matrix-700 to boot up from the micro SD card again. Now the Linux kernel and the file system of the eMMC will be entirely written into the micro SD card. The ready light of Matrix-700 has been flashing during the writing, and it takes about 10 minutes to complete the entire processing. Matrix-700 automatically boot up from the eMMC again after the writing has done. Here we observe the ready light of the Matrix-700 is at a steady orange state, means the boot up has completed. And we call this card golden copy, and you have to make sure to mark on this card and preserve it carefully. Now we are explaining how to use the restore mechanism to produce or copy the data to others Matrix-700. The restore mechanism is the reverse of the backup of the mechanism. Step 1. Remove the external power supply and the USB cable of the Matrix-700. Then insert the golden copy into the micro SD card slot of the Matrix-700. Reconnect the power supply to complete the boot up of Matrix-700, and the ready light is changing to the steady orange state. Connecting the USB console cable to the computer first, and activate the terminal program, for example, TerraTurn. Then connect it with console of the 700. Execute the restore command on the console of the Matrix-700. The restore command forces the Matrix-700 to boot up from the micro SD card again. Now the Linux kernel and the file system of the golden copy will be written to the eMMC. The ready light of the Matrix-700 has been flashing during the writing, and it takes about 10 minutes to complete the entire processing. Matrix-700 automatically boot up from the eMMC again after the writing has done. Here we observe the ready light of the Matrix-700 is at a steady orange state, means the boot up has completed. And then press out the micro SD card to complete the produce over copy of the Matrix-700. In the last, we are explaining how to use the restore mechanism to reset the factory setting of the Matrix-700. The steps to reset the Matrix-700 are the same as the deployment. The only difference is the resetting is using the factory image, and the production or the copy is using the golden copy. Step 1. Remove the external power supply and the USB cable of the Matrix-700. Then insert the factory image into the micro SD card slot of the Matrix-700. Reconnect the power supply to complete the boot up of Matrix-700, and the ready light is changing to the steady orange state. Connecting the USB console cable to the computer first, and activate the terminal program, for example, TerraTurn. Then connect it with console of the 700. Execute the restore command on the console of the Matrix-700. The restore command forces the Matrix-700 to boot up from the micro SD card again. Now the Linux kernel and the file system of the factory image will be entirely written into the eMMC. The ready light of the Matrix-700 has been flashing during the writing, and it takes about 10 minutes to complete the entire writing. Matrix-700 automatically boot up from the eMMC again after the writing has done. Here we observe the ready light of the Matrix-700 is at a steady orange state, means the boot up has completed. And then press out the micro SD card to complete the resetting of the Matrix-700. Now we have a general understanding of the mass production, or copy the Matrix-700, and a reset to the factory setting. In the future, we are also launching series videos, which are easier to question for the use of Untitled product. If you like the video, you could click on the subscription for more information. We will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.